Welcome back to Coach Stack, your secret weapon for improving yourself through business, investing, and personal growth. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on our next videos. Retirement. Retirement is that far-off place where you can put your feet up and sip freshly squeezed lemonade on the porch. The place where you can reap the fruits of your labor. Retirement may have been a reality for older generations, but with recessions, banking crisis, housing crisis, climate crisis, gig economy, virus pandemics, the list is endless. It seems that fantasy is going to stay that way for anyone coming of financial age. Thankfully, a wealth of tactics, get it, have been developed to help you get to the promised land. Better yet, some can help you retire early. One of them is called the FIRE method, or Financial Independence Retire Early. It has been gaining traction since its original conception in online forums like Reddit. It's the culmination of countless strangers coming together online to theorize, test, and record a practical method for alleviating retirement woes of millennials and Zoomers. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the FIRE method and talking about how you can implement it into your own life. But be warned, it won't be easy. This is partially because it requires a shift in how you think about money that's at odds with a lot of the modern world, which tries to trick you into spending and spending whenever you get your paycheck. You'll need resilience, fortitude, and optimism, but given that the reward is possibly early retirement, it's not hard to see why so many people trust the system. Alright, let's get into it. What is the FIRE method? The steps of FIRE can be broken down into these three basic tenets: frugality, extreme saving, passive income. If that hasn't put you off, it's probably because you are someone who A. wants to stop working as quickly as possible, B. is dissatisfied with consumerism, and or C. wants to gain financial independence. No points for noticing that the implicit attitude to these steps is one of accountability and ownership, both of your finances and your responsibility. This will be abrasive to any culture that advocates credit cards and debt. Get it now, worry about it later, or dangles entertainment as a carrot on a stick to lure you into another online subscription service. Sure, $5 for a new streaming service seems like a small monthly commitment, but stack it on top of your Netflix, Spotify, Disney+, Xbox Live, your mobile phone package, and immediately you're even more in the hole than you cared to imagine. So let's get specific. What is extreme saving? Most FIRE adherents define it as setting aside up to 70% of your income. That's no small feat, especially if you're not already living below your means. This ties in well with living exceptionally frugally. Frugality simply means limiting your purchases to ones that are immediately necessary. Do you really need that Uber, or can you take the bus? Do you really need to take the bus, or can you walk? The limits of your frugality will test you like a Buddhist monk on the path to nirvana. My grandparents still shared one tea bag decades after the war finished. It seems pointless, a tea bag costs less than a cent, but still they've doubled the lifespan of a daily commodity whilst halving the cost. Examine your own life to figure out where you could be saving a few dollars here and there. It's sure to snowball. Okay, let's talk about the financial freedom component. It's been estimated that you need at least 25 times your estimated annual spending to achieve financial freedom. That amounts to 25 years of expenditure, which, go figure, is roughly the length of an average retirement. If you know your ingoings and outgoings like the back of your hand, and have the discipline and patience to start getting ahead, then you will secure that 25 multiple sooner than you might think. Now, of course, no one has the clairvoyance to know exactly what they will be spending on. Tragedy strikes often and disaster lurks around every corner. You might want to first consider building an emergency savings pot of around 3 to 6 times your monthly salary, in case you need it. Not only will that emergency fund help you sleep at night, and it is an emergency fund, by the way, not a vacation fund, you'll notice that topping it up when it's needed will keep you on track for financial freedom. Once you've reached your 25 times savings target, you're ready for retirement. You can withdraw up to 4% from your pot every year, and this amount will equal the annual expenditure you were surviving on while saving up. That means you could theoretically stop working at that point and live off your passive income. Speaking of income, it's time to find a passive revenue stream because you will need to find a way to earn while you sleep. It can be pennies to start, every little bit helps, but the sooner you start getting paid for your skills rather than your time, the closer you will be to the land of milk and honey. Alright, there's your intro to the FIRE method. Before you think about implementing it into your own life, let's talk about whether it lives up to the hype with a little bit of math. The average annual expenses of a single person living in the USA is $25,000. On average, over 21% of that figure is completely optional spending on things like buying new clothes, eating out, or going to movies and concerts. Cutting these expenses down by 90% would mean limiting your annual expenditure to around $20,000 right off the bat. An additional 48% is made up of expenses that you could possibly cut down, like housing and transport costs, depending on your circumstances. If you cut these costs down by 20% by walking when you can or renting a smaller apartment, you could bring your annual expenditure down to around $18,000. Now, let's assume you're making $50,000 a year. $50,000 minus your $18,000 expenditure leaves you with $32,000 in savings. That's 64% of your income, pretty close to the 70% target. Okay, time to work out the savings target. Once again, your goal is to save 25 times your $18,000 expenditure, which is $450,000. Assuming you keep up your $32,000 annual saving contribution, you'll reach this target in 14 years. Sooner if you take your passive income streams into account. That means a 30-year-old who fits this income description could be retired by the age of 44. But what does retired mean in this case? Well, it means they would have access to roughly $18,000 in passive income. Is that enough to survive? Yes. Is it enough to live comfortably? No. However, this person would have achieved financial freedom in the sense that if they didn't want to work, they wouldn't have to. So as you can see, it's not impossible to retire early using the FIRE method, but it's hard. It takes a lot of commitment to delayed gratification, and that's definitely not for everyone. But if you can commit to some restrictions while you're young, they may pay off big time when you're older. That's all for today's video on how the FIRE method can help you retire early. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any Coach Stack content in the future. Thanks for watching and see you next time.